Most students find multiplying by ones and nines and twos and threes and fives pretty easy, but they struggle frequently their entire life with sevens and eights. So out of the first nine numbers, they struggle with sevens and eights. How can we make that a little easier to get a sense for the sevens and the eights? I recommend here we practice using these stars. I'm going to give you an idea what the stars look like, then give you an idea how to practice with them. So our goal is to take a simple pattern and turn it into a more complex pattern. To give you a hint where this is going to go, we can look at a star which we will use to understand twos and how they relate to eights. Then after that, we're going to take a more complex star, basically a 5-point star laying on top of another 5-point star and flipped over. And we're going to see how if we understand our threes, which is easy, we can get our sevens. From that, we can just practice on a regular basis our eights and our sevens until we feel comfortable with them. That's what we're about to show you here. Let's consider our twos times tables. Pretty easy, but we might notice something as we practice them. So we're going to use this star to build the pattern that the twos times table works with. So let's just say our twos times tables and mark our star as we go. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Now for the 10, I'm only going to write the last digit, and you'll see why as we go. Let's follow this pattern around as we practice our twos times tables. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Do you notice what's happening? The last digit keeps repeating, and we can just imagine adding the first digit in front of that. So watch again. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 2 is the last digit. 14, 4 is the last digit. 16, 6 is the last digit. 18, start a new cycle. 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, and so on. We can do this as long as we want. Now, we've established our twos patterns, and twos are easy, so you might be saying, why bother using the star? But now we've practiced our twos, look at this star again, and think about how we looked at the last digit and added a first digit in front of it. Let's think if we go backwards around the star. What do we get? 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. Do you recognize what we just did? That's your eights times table. You just have to imagine what digit comes in front of each. Let's try it again. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, 80, 88, 96, 104, 112, 120. Notice what happened. We can just keep following this pattern around and around, and we can do it practice daily until we've got our eights times tables. We know everything that fits in the pattern as far as we want to take the pattern. So what you do is you start with your twos times table by drawing it around the star, and then once you're sure you got the pattern from the twos, practice the eights going in the other direction. Let's take the idea we practiced with the twos and the eights and look at the threes. Threes are pretty easy, so just like before, we are going to just write down the last digit. So we remember 3, 6, 9, 12. We're only going to write the last digit. 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, and 30. Let's go around and make sure we did that right. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. Notice how we can think this out in groups. Notice where I pause to breathe. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, 33, 36, 39, 42, 45, 48, 51, 54, 57, 60, 63, 69, 66, 69. You'll notice I jumped in the pattern. 72, 75, 78, 81, 84, 87, 90. Notice if we just think where the first digit changes, we can follow this pattern and match it to our breathing. Going the other direction is going to be a little trickier, but now that we got our threes, notice what happens going the other direction. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 63, 70. Notice the sevens comes from the threes, so if we practice our threes with a star, we can just go around backwards and practice our sevens with a star. So let's try that again. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 63, 70. You might notice the digit I say before the 0 is a multiple of 7. I said 70, so let's watch that one more time. 70. I started wrong, didn't I? 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 63, 70. And I could keep going. I have had students practice this racing past 200 once they got the pattern down in their mind. So, write the threes going forward, then practice the sevens going backwards. As you practice, you might notice something in our color code. What are all the black numbers? How are the black numbers different from the red? 3, 9, 5 is right here, 1, and 7. You might notice all the numbers I underline match a black point on this star. You can color code your stars. They're the odd numbers. And then the red ones are going to be the even numbers. So as you go around your pattern, one of the ways to check your thinking is it going odd, even, odd, even, odd, even? And the hard part again is getting the first digit. So think about that one more time. 7, put a 1 in front of it to get 14. The next number is 2 in front of it to get 21. 28, put a 3 in front to get 35. 4 in front to get 42, 49. 5 in front to get 56. 6 in front to get 63. And 70. And you could keep going. 77, 84, 91, 98, 105, 112, 119. You might start to pause at this point as you try to think what digit goes in front. 126, 133, 140. Notice the 14 is a multiple of 7. So even though we paused to think about it, we ended up in the right place. Let's sum up star multiplication. It is good to practice by drawing a star each time and doing the easier pattern first, and then after practicing the easier pattern, going back and practicing the harder pattern. It is that's good for both types of stars. We got the 3 and 7 star also. And it's a nice habit to eventually think about maybe color coding as you practice, some type of indicator that tells you the odd-even pattern to remind you that you're seeing it. But then, what do we do about assessing? When we assess, we don't want to rush to questions like 7 times 15. That is something we will want to be able to do. But more importantly, we want to be able to say things like, is 105 in the 7s pattern? Is 105 in the 3s pattern? Is 110 in the 7s pattern? Is 110 in the 3s pattern? Is 98 in the 8s pattern? Is 98 in the 2s pattern? When you break it up like that, recognizing that things fit in patterns and things don't fit in patterns helps you recognize when you do finally start doing more specific problems like 715, is your answer in the right place? Is it in the right pattern? So practice with your stars. Have your student practice with your stars, your child. And once they practice with the stars, just throw questions about the patterns. Is 207 in the 7s pattern? Is 207 in the 3s pattern? Is 108 in the 8s pattern? Once you practice with that, you know whether they are getting a sense for the patterns. From there, you can start moving into the more specific, what is 8 times 7? What is 8 times 12? And so on.